God, that's the day I became Guruji's devotee.
Really?
That night.
Oh my. Guys, it's the Ark of the
It's like the Ark
Covenant.
of the
How did
Covenant.
it look?
And I'm like,
Is it gold?
I can literally still see it in my head. It's sitting on a very huge crystal plate.
And this is for all the seekers. Some of the experiences you have will not be validated or confirmed until years have passed. And that's a journey of faith, that's a journey of trust. Do not look for people to understand you, to people to validate you, because they can't. They have no capacity to do that. Especially from your family, you will not get any of that. Like, don't even look for it there.
Are there African ascended masters that you've encountered?
You know, the one who surprised me the most was Kenyatta, because after his death, yes, many people do not want to hear this. And Kenyatta, immediately after his death, he was actually ascended. He wasn't reborn. He was made into an ascended master, and he's also part of the people also protecting the mountain. Yeah, he's part of that group. He's not called Kenyatta for nothing. His work was, on the physical, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
But on the spiritual, it really elevated our people.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear listeners and viewers. Welcome back to yet another episode of Beauty Lives Podcast. Today I'm joined, well, it's the same day. I'm joined by my friends. So I'll let them introduce themselves. They've been on the podcast before, but now we are all together like lovely sisters.
Gosh,
Yes.
I'm Rose's friend.
That's good enough. They can find you.
Yeah, so my name is Caroline Gaiduma. I'm Rose's friend. And outside of that, I'm a transformation coach. I'm a mother. I'm a public speaking trainer. And I'm somebody who's very passionate about not just life, but living life.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do we top that? Me, I'm Dana Hakas.
You need to
Miam.
mention the
Miam.
Jaba story.
Miam.
Yeah.
Mention the Jaba story.
I am Dana Hakasa. I am Jaba juice.
She makes the best Jaba juice.
CEO. Can
She's
you
a CEO,
just...
but she makes the best Jaba juice in town.
Hey.
Yeah.
Just
Asante
the
sana
best
sana.
quality.
Yeah,
Because it
true.
was a download. I learned that today. It came to her in a
Oh, wow.
down.
Yeah, she's the originator. So any other Jaba juice you're seeing and drinking out there, the idea came from here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't even be shocked.
Like, imagine.
It is real.
It
Wacha.
is.
The kind of Jaba juice, like the distilled one, like it's not greenish and whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
But now you bring it to the next session ni kuadvertise, yeah?
Bas, tutaikunywa.
Alafu
Tutazitandaza
commission.
hapa.
Alafu commission.
Utazikunywa commission.
Sawa.
Yes, I'm also a mother, and I love the spiritual part. So most of my talk is all spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me, ladies. Santini, for your patience and everything. The one story that is off the top of my mind is your experience in Mount Kenya. But before then, I want to say something. We talked earlier about the group that we all found each other. Because
Yeah.
I found you during my coaching. You were my coaching teacher. I'm a life coach also. And then you introduced me to her.
Yeah.
And there was a coven.
A group.
The coven.
What are we doing at night? Okay, no.
Okay, so
You're gonna spook your viewers at what were you doing at night? Hey.
No, we
On
found-
full moons.
On full moon.
hey.
Hey.
Sasa that is what I wanted to discuss. Ubuntu.
Yeah.
So mwenye anataka kusema story ya Ubuntu aseme. Because it still exists and people can still join us there.
Yeah. It's dormant though.
Yeah, it is dormant.
We just need new entrants.
And
Yeah.
another full moon to come.
Yeah.
Tutai-advertise. But tuongelele Ubuntu. How did it start? That's why I met you, ladies.
How did it start? It started with, I remember I was doing coaching. I was in coaching school. And then I had met my coaching teacher. You need to bring her over, rather Priya. I met her in a dream first. I don't know if I told you that. Yeah, and then when I went to study coaching, I found her and she was my teacher and I was like, I had a dream about you and I never met you until now, you know. So we became very close, and then we were all interested and excited about the spiritual path, which we were very new to. Because I was coming out from like a very serious depression. I was finding a new career, a new way of life. So then she was like, yeah, I've actually met a couple of other people who are also having this kind of conversations about spirituality, about, you know, just exploring what we were as Africans before religion found us. And so she organized a meeting. And I think that's the meeting that I met Dana at.
Oh, the one working
At
Moyo
Pitt's
was
Cafe.
Pitt's Cafe.
You
That's what I
remember?
was looking for.
Yes, at
Yeah.
Chania Avenue, somewhere in Hurlingham. So that was our first meeting.
Yeah.
And we were meeting because one of the guys in the group that Pauline was putting together wanted to do a sort of like, no, actually she was preparing to go to the Parliament of World Religions in Canada.
Oh yeah.
You remember in Toronto?
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh yeah, this can actually be a very good presentation. So she hooked up with Karaya,
Karaya.
and they decided to do a documentary about seekers in Kenya. And so that's what she was calling us to meet about. So we were actually meeting for that Parliament of World Religions to create a presentation and to do an application to go and present there.
On African spirituality.
Yes. And then also to have our stories as seekers, like what is it like to be a seeker in Kenya, coming from Christianity and trying to find your own unique path. So that's how we met, and that was what the meeting was about.
Yeah.
And then now, at that point, I don't know how Dana, Pauline, and I decided
We do
to do Ubuntu. So we decided, oh, let's actually do a full moon event. And I remember the very first one was in Karen at Rosia's house.
Yes.
Rosia and Connie's house. And I think it was a February full moon, 2018.
It's 2018. It's the same year I met you guys.
Yes.
No, not 2018 actually. It was 2017
It was 2017.
because Gabi was not born. My daughter was not born, and she was born in 2017.
yes,
I had
yes.
just gotten pregnant. I remember.
But my turmoil was also starting around 2017.
It was
So
2017.
the seeking,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
turmoil, the confusion.
Yes, I remember.
Wow.
Because I know for sure that the following year, which was 2018, is when we went to Karichota.
Yeah. So did you guys do the
2018.
full moon event, the first one?
We did on February, and we did 13 full moons
Yes.
in
Eish.
total. Yeah, we
Yes.
never missed a full moon
What
for
were
a
you
whole
guys
year.
doing during full moon
And
events?
it's very funny that this lunar cycle is actually 13, supposed to be 13 months.
Oh,
guys
yeah.
were going through initiation.
Exactly.
I think it was an initiation of some sort. And you know, we never used to decide where next.
Exactly. It used to just come. Like all of a sudden it's a full moon, we create the poster, we're in the process of planning, and then someone will just offer, like, remember the one for acacia?
Yes.
And then you find out that the acacia tree is actually protectors, and they have some weird energy going,
Yeah.
grounding and like what? And protection. You know, the way they say anything with thorns is a protector. So
Interesting.
we used to
Yeah.
just have very interesting places.
So we never had a program. Our goal, our intention was to congregate and share our stories of our spiritual journey, because everyone was seeking, literally, like we didn't know where our path will land us, but we were just being fully present in our life and, you know, from a spiritual perspective. And so we would meet to just share experiences. We were not meeting to propagate anything or to propagate any teaching. We were just meeting to have that experience of like community as we share. You know, some people are starting to have visions, some people are starting to be clairvoyant, some people are starting to have dreams. And so we would just have a community that is a space for people to just come and share those experiences that are not normal per se, you know, mystical experiences. And so that's how we started. So when we went to Rosia's place the very first time, there was a womb healing.
The yoni
Remember?
one.
Yeah.
The yoni, she was teaching us about the yoni. You
Yes.
dragged me there. So
That was the first one. I dragged
At
you
this
there.
point, I think we'd already met. And we'd
Yeah.
met Dana, because I remember the time we met in town and she was telling us about Babaji.
Yes.
I actually learned of Bata Babaji first from you.
Yeah, me
Then
too.
I went later to the center and I'm like, this is Babaji.
Yeah.
Is this the same guy?
Yeah.
It's like,
Apparently.
Yeah, it was her who
Yes, he was
introduced
just
us.
bringing.
Mm.
So yeah, we went to Rosias and learned about the uni.
Yeah, I remember with Naraya, that
Yeah.
German lady.
Mm.
So that was the first one. Then after that, we were like, yeah, we can actually be doing this every full moon. And just talking about the moon and what this season means and whatever. And along the way is when we met Bansi, who came to introduce Om chanting
Yeah.
to us.
Oh,
And she
wow.
came with a picture of Babaji, and we knew Babaji through Dana, so we were receptive.
Mm.
And then on top of Babaji, she talked about Guruji. And so we started getting interested in that. She was sharing cards, like she was doing cards after the Om chanting. And, you know, we went online and we started following stuff. But all this time, we were also doing our own stuff.
Yeah,
right?
because even on the last day
Yeah.
when I was getting initiated,
Yeah.
you guys went to the full moon. I don't
I
know.
didn't go.
well,
I was sick. It was in that was the one for Acacia one.
the one that was raining.
Yes,
It was raining heavily.
It was raining,
Oh, yeah.
and they left.
They
They left the
left.
center. They went to Acacia. I remember I was sick.
Oh, you didn't go? I didn't know. Me, I was like, me, I'm not going to the rain. I love the moon and everything, but nah, I'm going home. Which is
Yeah.
when now I became God. That's the day I became Guruji's devotee.
Really?
That night.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my
God.
gosh.
And the previous full moon.
Oh my gosh! I remember.
Yeah, that's the night. And the previous full moon is the one that Radha Priya's dad passed on.
The one at Kamulu.
You have goosebumps.
It was.
Yeah.
It was at Kamulu, the one that we
He
had
passed
Kina Musyoki who were doing African
Drums.
drums.
Yeah.
And we had such a crazy night. You remember you
Yes,
guys?
That guys,
I
the
remember-
fire.
I remember
CG.
standing somewhere, and I remember very well I was having a chat with my friend, and you guys were around the bonfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
And the
leading.
drum started. They drummed, and then I looked and I was like, "Why are guys standing?" And I told my friend Martin, I told him, "Let's go and join them because it looks like the program has moved."
Yeah.
Guys
I
weren't
get to
standing.
the circle and no one is standing.
Around the fire.
And I'm like, am I tripping or what?
You're seeing our higher selves.
It's like kumbe there was and then someone from the circle was saying they are feeling like the ancestors are like holding and supporting us.
Yeah.
Me, what I felt.
And then I was like, wait.
Me, what I felt. I remember. I related with that because I felt like there were people who were standing.
Yeah.
I remember feeling so many people around us.
They were like everyone
Yeah, I
had
can-
someone behind them. What I
Yeah.
saw with my 2 eyes,
Yeah.
like I'm not even kidding.
There were people around. I remember feeling
And I
warmish,
told
like
Mato,
presence.
these guys have stood. Let's go and join them because it's like something else has changed in the
Yeah.
program. Because before there was no program. Remember, there was no
There was no
program.
program,
People
yeah.
were just flowing. So we had left everyone seated at the circle, and sometimes you would find like you're clicking with this person. There's like a thing that has come, and you just want to go deeper and talk more.
Yeah.
That's what had happened. So we were at a corner. There was a car between us. So we were on this side of the car, there's the car, and then the circle is Uko. So I was like, Mato, it looks like people have created like a program, something is happening. We approach where the standing people.
And even the
Then I'm like,
fire.
when you guys have sat down, like how fast?
Do you remember something about the fire? There was something, I think you were taking us through something, and you were talking about the fire.
The fire.
Do you remember? And that's the day you told us about Jesus, by the way.
I can't remember.
But I remember
There was
having
something
going
about
on.
the fire. I remember a lot was going on,
Yeah.
guys. The
a lot was
drums.
going on. There was drums.
Gosh.
There was a meditation that we did, and I was on the ground and I'm feeling like I'm spinning. I'm even getting nauseous. I remember I got so nauseous I even threw up because I was feeling like I'm being spun around a pole. So it's like there's a pole right through me and it's spinning like this and I'm even feeling nauseous.
I honestly feel like this conversation, thank God we are seekers, and I hope other seekers will see this and be like, okay, I have a weird community that I can join. Because to normal people, we sound very weird.
Let go.
I know.
Do you guys remember any other stories in the Spitz Cafe? What other seekers must have been going through? Like, do you remember anything?
For me, mostly
Or
it was
just-
introduction that day. And then I was also
Yeah.
so nervous because come introduce together and then record. It's like, whoo,
Yeah.
how I was going to do this. So most of that is more, like a blur kind of. I
Oh.
just remember meeting everybody,
Who-
but the details of it, not really.
Who came up with the idea of the full moon? Because I'm wondering who knew the full moon has power. It just
It
sounds like
was
someone-
her. It was Dana.
Ebu, tell us why you picked the full moon.
Well, energy basically. The light, the energy, you're more receptive to it. It's just a lot of things. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's known to activate. These days I don't want to use activate, but let's use activate. It's known to activate. You see these your emotional, especially the ones related to your emotional body, because you know how it relates with the water. It kind of pulls the water, also
Yeah.
the waters in our body. And then also, I'm very sure I was being pushed by Babaji or something.
Yeah, because the
I'm
stuff we
very
did,
sure,
like
yeah.
at the result, it wasn't like stuff that you would think of. And in fact, later, she surprised me when she told me that the stuff she used to do, she used to download in the moment. So me, I used to think it's something she's got written down. You know, like the way somebody comes and does a presentation, and you're like, oh, this person has prepared the presentation. This person does it like this way in other places. She told me no, actually, it was in the moment. Even me, I didn't know what I was gonna do or say a minute before that.
How did you
And
meet
yet it was like
Babaji?
these things that
How did you meet
How?
Babaji?
It was from the runes. I did the whole rune classes, and then immediately I got into the night because there's a halfway point. When you reach a rune night, you are told that I'm trying to find that name, but in lack of a better name for in layman's language, that now you and the deities and the gods and all these other spiritual masters are now going to be coming to you, like they're being opened, that realm is being opened up to you. And the first person who came knocking was who? Babaji's like, hey. And you know, at first you're thinking,
How
getting
did
my
you
own
know him,
thing.
by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way?
How did you know him?
The name came. There was Babaji. And then even the Babaji that I found wasn't, I told you it was what was his name? Haida Khan Babaji. And then there was always not that one.
So when you
Babaji.
Googled, like you...
Yes, I was Googling. I was trying to
Yeah.
look for Babaji. And it was like, no, not that one. No, not that one. Not that. So ilifika now this other Babaji, Nagaraj, and there was so much familiarity. There was so much love. There was like, yes, this one. Yes, this one. I was like, okay, interesting. So I started now like relating with him
Yeah.
through meditation. I'd open myself up. And then that's when I started understanding even most of the things which I'm writing through in my meditation. It's actually him trying
Yeah.
to get the message out through my like automatic writing, let's call it
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Through your
Wait, I have a
being,
question.
basically.
You said Nagaraj Babaji,
Yeah.
but Nagaraj is the king of serpents.
That is the way it's written. Nagaraj.
It's the same guy we
Babaji,
saw at the temple.
Yes.
The
It's
one who
called
looks like
Nagaraj,
Jesus.
yes.
Oh,
Nagaraj,
wow.
yeah. Mahavata he's called Shri Mahavata Nagaraj Babaji.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Even I
Wow.
didn't know it was... he
There's
was
a story you ever told
Nagaraj.
us when there's a time we were having coffee at some point. I don't know whether you were using the mirror and you went into, I was like, wow, this chick. You went into, I don't know whether it was in the mirror, and then you went and met Babaji. That's the first story I ever heard of you in a mountain.
In a mountain.
Yeah, it's very vague, but in
She told it back then?
yeah, tukiwa mi
Okay.
wewe na
I
Pauline.
can't remember.
So I think there's mirrors, there's candles, there is a mountain where you meet Babaji.
Oh no, it wasn't me. It was a disciple.
Oh,
It was
the one who wasn't dying.
Yeah, the one.
something.
Yes. It wasn't me. it was a seeker basically who was looking for Babaji like for weeks and weeks and weeks. He's gone up the mountain.
Himalayas?
Yeah, Himalaya mountains. But he knew it's one of the caves. Babaji and his disciples are in there. So one night, it's raining. He sees a light flicker somewhere in one of the caves. And then he goes in and then he follows the light and he knew, I have found him. I have found my guru. I have found him. So he found that up there. He's like, Babaji comes to him and he's like, yes, I've been looking for you. I want to be your disciple. I want to be part of your disciples. So he's already standing up. Babaji just tells him, throw yourself off the cliff, like it was a cliff.
Yeah.
Cliff. This guy
This
didn't
is
even
a
think
vision.
twice.
Is this a vision?
No,
you're
no,
seeing?
this is somebody, when I was
It's a
still
reality.
reality, you know, the way you're looking for information about Babaji, and then you come across people who have
Okay.
been seeking and they're giving their stories, yeah. So like, anyway, he threw himself. He didn't even think twice. He just gone. So he tells Babaji, calls his disciples, like, oh, pick him up, bring him. He came. I don't know what. I think Babaji touched him or something, and he woke up. And he's become a devotee or a disciple for ever
Yeah,
since.
that's a disciple. Because a disciple is the one, remember what we were being told the difference by Swami? The difference between a devotee and a disciple is a disciple has no doubt whatsoever.
Oh yes, yeah.
Like has no doubt of the master. He just, akisema ruka, you just jump.
How high?
Yeah, not even ask how high, you just jump. Utajulia mbele. And you know that's the most scary thing, to give up control. And
Oh,
I
yes.
think one of the beefs people have with having guru is that because they're like, how do I give up my will? How do I give up control and let somebody direct my life? Because that is why it is said that it's the mystery of the mysteries. The guru is the mystery of the mysteries, because it's not how it looks. It's not like I'm now coming to you and I'm like, sawa basi, control my life. But
It's
when
deeper.
looking from the outside, people think that. In fact, I don't know if you've had people talking about that, like this is cultic or this is whatever, because people are so afraid of other people, because they don't trust. And you see, that's the thing about the guru. The guru principle itself, that's what people don't understand. That first and foremost, it's a principle. It's like you cannot learn and master something without a teacher.
Yeah.
You can't be a doctor if you've never been taught by someone who is one. You can't be a teacher if you have not been taught by. So the guru principle is alive in everyday life. You can't cook a new recipe unless you're taught. Whether you're taught through a recipe on YouTube that has no one in it, it's just a list of ingredients and process. Whether it's somebody who comes to your house to teach you, the principle is alive in every aspect of our lives. But now when it comes to spirituality, because we have no way of knowing who is genuinely connected to the divine and who has actually achieved what we would like. Because first and foremost, we don't even have an aim. Our spiritual aim, most of us, we just come from a religious background where our aim is to get to heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically our aim is to get to heaven, and we don't know where this heaven is, and that's why we are stuck on other people's stories, and we don't value the story of our life. Because when you come back to your mundane life, how you're washing your dishes, you're washing your clothes, you're taking your kids to school, you're feeding your dog, you don't see that as a path to heaven. You understand?
Yeah.
It's very earthly. It's very earthly. It's
Yeah,
very,
true.
But then the guru comes to show you how your life itself is a path to that
heaven.
where you're going, because he has attained it and he's still here.
Yeah.
But because we have no understanding, especially in our culture, like in our culture we did, but then we lost that. Like all ancient cultures had that aspect of a master and following a master, but then when we've been so westernized, it's very individualistic. Like you can do it on your own. Like look at even making money, you can do it on your own, self-made, stuff. It's like let's just separate ourselves and everyone sit in their own corner and let's compete.
Compete. I was thinking of compete. Yeah.
But now you see, now when you come to spirituality, even when we say you're seeking, do you even know what you're seeking?
What are you seeking?
Exactly, because you
was I
can be
seeking?
seeker forever. We know people think that what you need is information. That's what I realized. And that's why a lot of people are lost in this information age, in the internet. Things about Mami Water, things about sijui who, things about, it's like they are flooded by information and they are thinking seeking is seeking information. It's like they think the more information you gather about deities, about spirituality, about Egypt, about sijui what, about the more you know, it's like the more you're advancing. That's not true. That is not true. The goal is transformation. Are you becoming a better human?
Yeah.
Are you becoming more present in your life? Are you becoming more healed and at peace within yourself? That is the marker for this journey. Because if it's about information, you'll just be there on social media arguing with people about this beliefs or that belief, feeling like this one is wrong and this one is right. You're sifting through the lens of duality, and you can be a seeker forever. And so I think getting us out of that thing comes the guru, because the guru shows you how to set the aim. Like, what is the aim of the spiritual path? What are you doing all this for? What does it mean? How does your life transform as a result of your path? Because if you're on a real path, your life cannot remain the same. You cannot remain the same.
When we need to write books for people to really see what we mean.
Yeah.
It's never been the same
It's
since
never been the
60 years
same.
now.
And guess what? Seeking is asking for trouble.
Are you ready?
My guru
Seeking is
says
asking for trouble.
taking the spiritual journey, this journey that you're talking about,
Yeah.
is hard. It's not for the weak. People have labeled spiritual people as woo-woo and very... They think they are very
Eccentric and
eccentric or very weak and everything. That is where we are going towards God and to do meditation.
Yeah.
It's bloody hard.
It's for warriors.
It's for warriors. It's warriors WA.
Let me tell you what
Warriors
happened when we
WO.
started Ubuntu, guys.
Yeah.
How many were we?
How many were you? I was gonna ask.
We started out as 9 women.
And it's
Okay.
a women thing. It
9
happens a
women.
lot.
All of us were married, apart from one. By the end of those 13 full months, none of us was married. And it's not that we didn't try our best. It's not that we didn't, like, you think that when you become a better person now, that's when the whole world will rally behind you.
Nothing.
Because when you become a better person, first of all, you stop pretending, you stop people pleasing, you stop, you start saying no, you start having habits and characteristics that other people are like, what's wrong with you? Why are you saging the house?
My little child.
I swear to God, my neighbors don't think they haven't. Just yesterday, I was thinking my neighbors will probably throw me out now.
After you're ringing a bell around a plant, this chick does
I'm
a whole.
circumambulating.
She circumambulates her plant outside the door,
Hi.
ringing a bell and burning incense and all this stuff. And that's when I realized,
I don't know
that's
why they
why.
haven't thrown me out.
That's why you find Hindu communities live together and they're like, apana, nobody from the outside, because they don't. And we think that it's racism. It's not racism. Even me, I would want to live in a Hindu compound, because the things I
swear.
would want to do, I can't do where I live.
But I do remember how Amoy, I wish Amoy was here, when she did the yakda and she was almost thrown out of her home. Did you tell that story?
Of her own house.
She did the yakda in the house.
You can imagine the smoke.
This witch doing.
This witch is burning us down. You know?
And they don't know, by the way, it's actually auspicious. It's actually giving the whole
Yeah, very good
They
vibes, but
should be very lucky.
yeah, it's
I
because
am
of the I think how we approach beliefs, and I think I was telling Dana on our way here, sometimes we don't think, like, a lot of the thoughts we think are not ours. We've inherited these thoughts and these ideas and these concepts, and then we don't find others out of that. So we recycle these things we've been given and expect our lives to be new and fresh and elevated, and we are not introducing new thoughts. And the reason why we don't introduce new perspectives to even our own lives is because we are very closed and protective of our beliefs, because those are the ones that form our selves of self, and this is a false identity. That's not who you are. But if you're a bit open and you're a bit allowing of your own questions, because what I noticed as a Christian, I had a lot of questions. Like, things were not adding up, but I could not ask. I could not express that, mbona hii, mbona hii, mbona hii, and there was no space for that. So it meant that I could not get any other idea or any other perspective than what I had. And so I could only create the life I had. But the minute I started to introduce other new perspectives, That's when my life started to change. And I think the one reason why things fell apart, things fall apart is a literature book by Chinua Achebe. Things fell apart because this life you built, you're building it on a false narrative of who you are. Like who people have told you and showed you that you are is what you build that life on. And it's a whole life of masking, people pleasing, pretending, lying, and you build a whole life, a whole empire with it. And then one day you decide, no, I don't want to be this person. What do you think happens to that life? It crumbles like a house of cards. And now that's what a lot of people are afraid of, and that's what a lot of people will label like, munaona mlianza uchawi, maisha yetu ndio hiyo imeenda, But it's really the real life that's now starting to emerge, and the false life is falling apart. And as your life falls apart, there's something that happens to you. You start to let go of attachments because vitu zinaangukanga so fast. Hadi uko like
it is like
kikiumana, it's like kinaumana all sorts until now you're like, I can't hold on to anything. I can't hold on to my money, I can't hold on to my kids, I can't hold on to my husband, I can't hold on to my health. For me everything's crumbled. Every single thing, my health, my kids, my husband, my money, my career, everything.
So what held you together? The guru?
What held me together was that it's not even, I would not say it's the guru because at that time, bado, your mind hasn't clicked
you were not yet there.
Yeah, it's your mind is not. But what is holding you together is because you've started to discover there's something more to life. You've started to discover that beyond, even if this falls apart, there's a way I'm still surviving. There's a way I'm still remaining. So who is this that is remaining?
Surprisingly, you kept looking, and I know you can vouch for her because you're our best friend. She kept looking better and better with every collapse.
Kabisa.
You look better and better and better. So that's why we were saying at lunchtime, people can't tell you if
In
people
fact,
can't tell your real situation by looking at you.
Yeah.
Because what you're showing now is the real. You probably found something that is fulfilling that hole in your heart.
Yeah.
That is not the outside facade.
Exactly. And it's like a blanket comes off, and it comes off with a layer of depression that was attached to attachment to this person or attachment to this thing. I remember looking at myself in the mirror one day just before COVID. Actually, when COVID just started, before the lockdowns. And I looked at myself and I'm like, I'm looking younger than I was
Same.
before.
We all are.
And I was
For some
in deep
reason.
shit at that time. And I remember I was looking, it's not even a joke. It was in a restaurant. You know these restaurants with a mirror just next to the table? It was in a restaurant. The mirror is here, and I was waiting for the mediator because we needed to sort out my co-parenting arrangement.
Yeah. And you're looking hot.
And I'm looking there and I'm like, who is this girl? Because she's not the one that is seated here. And I'm like, I remember my ex stood us up, me and the mediator. And I'm like, okay, so there is no way forward, But I'm looking at myself and I'm like, she looks like she has her ducks in a row. And that time I'm stepping onto the street and I'm being catiwad by people left, right, and center. And it was a contrast. But when I look at it, it's how all these things were leaving us. Like we were so happy. Remember,
Yes,
like
we were.
at
We have
some
been
point,
very happy,
Yeah,
guys.
we were so happy. We used to go like everyone comes and they have a major crisis in their life.
And we are laughing.
But we are laughing.
And I also have to thank that shared experience, because if we were just all going through it alone differently, trust me, I think we'd all crumble and go back to the other side.
tungejinyonga ama
Yeah.
turudi tukue super dogmatic
Exactly.
ama like
Until now,
it was a
ama
very
tuingie
thin line.
cult.
Yeah, ama tuingie cult.
Tuweze kuvaa nguo refu. But it's true by there, because
Yeah.
all of us in the Karichota, which I want us to talk about, the Mount Kenya group. Now and then I joined you guys, and then I left again and went to my guru.
Yeah.
I came and left. I checked out. All of us were sharing the same exact. Is it you I was telling, or is it Janaki? I was telling her. I noticed a thread. Every time all of us were going through the same thing. Like if it's divorce, all of you are going through divorce.
Yeah.
If it's health, all of you are going through a health, whether it's your parent, whether it's yourself.
Yeah.
If it is, I don't know,
Money,
Is
kwanza
it
money, there's a time it was a pandemic.
Moving houses.
Yes, we are moving houses.
And you're all moving houses,
Yeah.
Pauline, or like
It's like reshuffle. It's like
thrown out of your house.
it's like
You're all
those cabinet reshuffles. It's affecting everyone.
Thank God by then you guys, you have each other. This is why I'm so passionate about ensuring there's a community for people. Community of support is very important. Because I swear if we didn't have each other.
yeah.
And Jaba just
That was key. That was key, man.
tungeumia sana. Okay, tulikuwa
Yeah.
tunaumia, but we had laughter.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's talk
Yeah.
about Mount Kenya, which I really feel bad. I missed. I was around when you guys went, but I didn't come.
Yeah, I remember.
So she was telling me in the other podcast, which you'll have to watch and see, how you guys did out of body
Astral travel.
astral travel into the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do it, and what you guys saw, and then the sun 8
Mm.
Those were two
where you
different.
guys were seeing
Those were-
colors.
There were two different times. Sun 8 was different, and Mount Kenya was different. It was 2 different days.
It was 2 different days because
yes.
I remember
I
the
remember it
retreat
was-
was
You guys
not
were
one
high
day.
or something.
Um,
Mlikuwa mnavuta bangi. Semeni ukweli.
no, at that point, no. By the way,
It was just purely
at
yourself.
that point was no. Yeah, because I remember when we were writing notes outside there,
Yes.
everyone was sober.
Tell me that story, Basi. How was it? Just tell it for them. About Mount Kenya especially.
About
Because it's
Mount
been
Kenya.
coming a lot.
Yeah.
Coming a lot.
It was a surprise to actually to find the Nini Covenant there.
Mm.
The Ark of the Covenant. Me, I was surprised. I was like,
And you know, when she
okay.
told us, we were like, so not all of us saw it, but me, I remember encountering the priests of Ur. But then
The ones in the Bible.
the priests of Ur are the ones who have been tasked to protect the Ark of the Covenant. They are of the lineage of John the Baptist, right?
And he's also
Yeah.
one of them, actually,
Yeah.
part of them. So
I hope it's black.
you know
There's
when
no
you're dealing
race.
with light.
The Essenes were black, guys.
It's just how do we say? You know, Maya. It's just
Okay, fine,
yeah.
fine. Let me not go down that rabbit hole. So the
Yeah,
priests,
so I was like, okay, I had a sense of there's something important,
They're
but
doing.
yeah, or there's something important here, but it wasn't very clear until she said, guys, it's the Ark of the
It's like the Ark of
Covenant.
the
How did
Covenant.
it look?
And I'm like,
Is it gold?
I can literally still see it in my head. It's sitting on a very huge crystal plate. Crystal, and we haven't even started tapping into crystal energy. So you can imagine if it's the one like pulling, or how can I say, pulling the 5th dimension here so that it can. You can imagine how powerful that thing is. Yeah, it is gold. It is huge. You see the way it's just depicted in the Bible. Of course, I think also being told the Ark of the Covenant, you can also start having your own mental images of it. But it's a 5th dimensional object. I don't know if you can say object.
Yeah, you can.
It's a 5th dimensional object, but it's very high frequency. Very high frequency. And the crystal tablet that it's sitting on, actually, it's a tablet, I can say that. It is so huge and it's so powerful. I'm like feeling the cells in my body just like,
Wow.
yeah, that energy.
I've started
already.
feeling that cold.
Yeah. It's
I
coming
don't
back.
think I'm making it up. It's a thing.
No, you're feeling it again.
Yes.
Maybe
the
you're feeling
same
the energy because
frequency.
that crystal plate, it is cold. And if you're talking about Mount Kenya, we're talking about also cold.
yeah.
See, I don't doubt myself now.
And it is
I'm
cold.
probably feeling it.
So even that time when we finished that whole, I was like, all right, so we've gone there. We've been introduced to the priest of Ur. We've been told that is the Ark of the Covenant. I'm not even talking about this anymore. Then Carol, the other day.
Yeah,
she
just the
comes.
other day, I'm like, because you know, some of these things, by the way, unless they are confirmed and validated, sometimes you keep them to yourself because you're like, kwani na cheesy. Because it's not something you've had elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's not something you've. By the way, a lot of the stuff that I got in visions and in dreams and in my own downloads, they were confirmed when I Googled. So it's not like I Googled and then I agreed with it. No, I first saw it somewhere else. And then I was like, am I going crazy? How can I confirm this information? Is it real? And then I find it. So Juicy, I'm just going through YouTube. I don't remember how I came across that video. but Ndura Waroinge, the one who used to be
He's the one who's been
Amongeke.
talking a lot.
Yes,
about
so
the
I
Mount
saw a
Kenya.
video and he's talking about the Ark of the Covenant in Mount Kenya, and I'm like, this chick was not crazy. And she had not read it anywhere. She had not heard about it anywhere. And I'm like, okay.
We were just going, okay.
Yeah.
You know that trust. Unaambiwa,
Yeah, it's actually trust.
Twende. I'm like, hey,
Especially with
create the
information.
this. I do.
Yeah.
I do. And then you're told, now there's the meditation place where you have to go there. I'm like, I've never even done that. I don't even know how to start astro traveling. You shall be guided. So let's do this. And I was quiet. I was just like, I'm not going to freak anyone out that I don't know what I am doing, but let's do this. So
Yeah.
that's how it happened. And like so much confirmations, especially this year, they have come to life.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? Even the platform that we went so that we can access Sun 8,
Sanit, yeah.
Basha confirmed it juicy. It was like,
Deni pole pole, how did you get there?
She's just leading us through a meditation, and she tells us visualize a platform. And then from this platform is like we go to Sun 8. It was underground.
it was there was the
At the center of the earth.
there was the center of the platform that we had to jump in.
Jump
Remember the
in,
breath,
like,
you
yeah,
take a breath, we
you
use
take a deep
work,
breath,
and then you
you jump in.
And then when you jump in, unapita katikati ya earth, like it's like a slide, like inside.
So you think it's your imagination. Yeah, I thought
Yes, exactly.
we were like, okay, it's an imagination. And then Junzi, we are hearing Bashar talking about the platform for astro travel.
Imagine.
And I'm like, okay.
Okay. Even me, I was just like, all right. So I think Baba is just laughing wherever he's like, you should have trusted more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you trust, it's like trusting is very interesting because just think about the people that you trust. Number one, you trust people that you know, right? And you develop trust because of either love or experience.
Yeah.
Those are two things.
Yeah.
Like you don't trust anyone unless you love them or unless you have an experience that tells you that they are trustworthy or you can trust them. So that's usually what, at least for me, that's how it started. It's like God started teaching me to trust Him by giving me some various experiences with the inner voice that He ensured were validated.
Yeah.
And so after that, whatever I saw, even at Karichota, like at some point I was in the siders of Russia.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And I didn't know what
The
was
ringing
where I
centers.
was. Yeah.
Say more about that, please.
I was like, so it's in a meditation, and I find myself in a forest with very tall ciders. You know, the ones that whistle when the wind blows.
I've heard of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So I found myself, and I saw a lady there, and I was trying to get to her, and I didn't reach her. And then I came back from the meditation, and I told Dana about it, and then she was like, "You are actually in the they're called
Russia, the ringing centers.
the ringing ciders with Anastasia."
Yeah, with Anastasia.
Yeah. So just
Who is
Google
Anastasia?
Anastasia is
She's like an
another Babaji.
ascended master.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Another Babaji.
People.
Whenever even your ears ringing, it is because of that frequency of the ringing centers upping.
Yeah, I do. My right.
That's one of the
My
meanings.
right.
One
Yeah.
of the, what is it called? Telltale signs when the frequency of the cedars is just going up or they're doing something. Because even the trees, the plant kingdom is very conscious.
Yeah.
Very, very
And that's like
conscious.
a portal of some sort.
Yes.
So I also got a vision of Saint Germain, and I had never heard of such a saint or a name like that. So, and that was a vision because I was in meditation. I remember Dana had given us an incantation to evoke Babaji. So I had sat with it, kitambo, then I'm like, see, I just use it today. So I sit in meditation and I do the invocation and I'm caught up in a vision. So I can hear my kids playing in the living room, the cars zooming on the road, but I'm not here. So I'm seeing myself in a castle-like place. I saw myself again on
Operating table.
an operating table, the whole works, yeah? And I was like, who is this? So I remember Dana telling us, if you become aware of yourself in a dream or in a vision, and you have questions to ask, you can ask. So I remembered that while in the vision. So I was like, oh, let me ask, and who are you? And he just, he was speaking telepathically, not with his voice. But surprisingly, he was black.
I'm so happy. I swear I was just about to ask you, was he European? Then I just let me hold my tongue.
He was black,
Thanks.
and he had a very booming voice, like thunder-like voice. And he said Saint Germain, and so the whole vision happened the way it happened. Story for another day. And I got out of that vision, and I was like, my phone, my phone, because it's like, am I crazy? My phone. And I'm like, Saint Germain. And the first thing I'm getting, so first of all, I saw him and he was wearing like the Roman generals, you know, those leather armors and skirts that have ninis like that, you know, the way you see them in movies. That's what I had seen.
Yo.
And so I Googled Saint Germain, and the first thing that came from, I don't know, it was Wikipedia or what, like a what is it called? Like a site you can trust, you know, a credible site. I read and I was like mind blown. The first statement I read was people who are said to have encountered Saint Germain say that he wears like a Roman general. Imagine
that.
That's creepy.
it was so creepy. I'm like, hey. Then I'm talking today, Nakumbe, she knows Saint Germain because he's the
Violet Flame Chohan.
yeah, he's the Chohan for the violet flame. And the violet flame is the flame for transmutation and transformation. He's an alchemist,
And the
basically.
things that happened in
that vision were confirmed.
They were confirmed and they've been confirmed over the years.
Over
There was a
the
lot of
years, there was
transformation.
a lot. And over the years, in fact, that's why I was telling this story, because now we are getting confirmations about the Sanate platform. We are getting confirmations about the Ark of the Covenant. This is something that happened in 2018. And it's getting confirmed now, like 7 years later.
Imagine.
You know, that's the same thing with visions that I got about my life. Even my own path that would lead me to Hinduism. I was on a call with my coach from Michigan on Skype, and she used to be an energy healer also. So she told me, before we do the session, let me do some energy scanning, energy clearing. And I got caught up in a vision on Skype. I still have it recorded even today. And I started to see myself in a tunnel. I told her I'm seeing myself in a tunnel. And she would ask me questions. It was a whole story of my initiation and my getting into Hinduism. And I did not know it until I was initiated in 2021. And this was in 2016 that I was doing this call with her. This is like close to 10 years ago. And I remember the first thing, I saw myself in a tunnel, and she told me to go up towards the light at the end of the tunnel. And when I got to the end of the tunnel, there was a meadow in a forest, like a clearing in the middle of the forest, but really nice. You know, the grass was nice. There were flowers and butterflies and everything. And who was standing at the exit of the tunnel? 4 monks dressed like Kinaswami.
Imagine that.
And you know, I had never seen that. So it was just 4 people who looked like monks, because I've seen monks.
So they are wearing orange, like
Yeah, orange or like earthy colors. Yeah. So
Magina.
yeah, I don't know what
Ochre.
Yeah. So I just recognized that they are monks from movies I've watched. I did not know any monk personally. I did, and then right after that, I met what's his name?
Jesus.
Banteji from the Nairobi Buddhist temple. I met him after
That's the
that.
story I was gonna say. After that, all of us went to the
Yes, to the Buddhist temple.
after.
And then I met Swami, and I was like, wait,
wow.
that's when it started adding up. Like, and I also realized that in that version of that vision, Guruji was also there. It's just that when I was seated with him on the hill,
You thought it was Jesus.
I thought it was Jesus, because that was the frame of mind that. But thing in me was telling me it's not Jesus. But because I had not gotten onto the path, to this level of the path, I was like, it cannot be anyone else. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm looking for Jesus.
Yeah, but I had also seen Jesus in the same vision with his face. But then on the hill, I was only seeing the hair
Mm.
because he was not looking at me. I was looking at a side profile.
Okay.
Wow. And you also had
And I had
Then you came to start chanting.
and I came to such a so now it's very interesting that, and this is for all the seekers, some of the experiences you have will not be validated or confirmed until years have passed. And that's a journey of faith, that's a journey of trust. And in addition to that, do not look for people to understand you, to people to validate you, because they can't. They have no capacity to do that, and so and then your journey is very, very unique, and you cannot walk the journey and also expect validation and acceptance and approval.
Even if
It's
you
not
get none of that.
you will get none of, especially from your family, you will not get any of that. Like, don't even look for it there, because that is the place where your psychological false self was formed. So how do you expect them now to validate your true self? And they've done so much work to create the false self that you are, it's unrealistic for you to expect that.
Are there African ascended masters that you've encountered in your journeys?
Africa, I am sure there are many. The one who surprised me the most was Kenyatta, because after his death, yes, many people do not want to hear. This is like one of those ones. Remember when you were telling me you have to give the Jesus story?
You have to give the
Yes.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones. And Kenyatta, immediately after his death, he was actually ascended. He wasn't reborn. He was made into an ascended master, and he's also part of the people also protecting the mountain. Yeah, he's part of that group. He's not called Kenyatta for nothing. His work was, on the physical, you don't understand it. But on the spiritual, it really elevated our people.
I don't know why I resonate with that.
Yeah,
especially the mountain. Right?
Yes, yeah. So there's that one, and then
And he's a very tough protector.
Yes,
I have encountered
yes.
him, and I think he
Who Kenyatta? In your meditation?
was it a dream? It was a dream, and I saw him on a throne, like in a huge seat that was emanating from the earth of the country, and he was seated very high up, but he was very close. It's like the way you see how Mount Kilimanjaro is. It's really huge and it's really far. But when you look at it, you feel like it's just here.
Like here.
Exact. That kind of phenomenon is what I got. And he was just sitting fiercely watching over Nini. And I remember he was in yellow, like this yellow. So I'm sort of thinking he has something to do with the solar plexus.
Yes,
Over
probably.
Murima.
And you know, Kenya is so significant, especially to even gain an ascended master who was a president here. Because can you imagine, we have the three mountains, the three natural pyramids.
Which are?
Mount Elgon, Mount Kenya, and Kilimanjaro.
Oh, wow.
You see the whole triangle. And when you're thinking about a triangle and the power of a triangle, it is just, this is like new level talking. We were talking about symbolisms, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's fiery, because the triangle is also one of the access points for fire. The fire elements. Yeah. So you can, when you say yellow, it is also.
And he had that fiery
Yeah.
vibe around him, like, don't even dare touch, like.
Is he protecting Kenya or protecting people?
It's not, when you're an ascended master, it's not about a country. It's about a people, like
a consciousness.
A consciousness, you understand?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be Africa. You can say I'm Kenyan. That guy who sang "My Land Is Kenya."
Yeah.
He wasn't black. He was white, but he associated so much with. He protects that consciousness. That is Africa, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying also something else about other ascended.
Other ascended. There are many ascended masters from every
Yeah.
from every country.
Actually, even from every tribe, there must have been, even if it's ancient times, because the idea of ascension is not, how do I say, it's not linked to popularity or to being known or whatever. It's somebody who has lived the ultimate of whatever it is that they stand for.
Like, I don't know, I'm thinking of the guys who used to study like Mugoa Kafiro and Lenan.
You know, like Mugoa Kafiro is a title,
Masai.
basically. It's not a person. It was like
But by the time
way
you got that
up.
title, you must have
Yes,
reached
exactly.
a certain.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How do you know this story of Kenyatta? Because I'm sure people will be like, how do you know that?
I am trying to remember whether it was a meditation or it was channeling or something. Because even me, I was trying to remember where did I get it. But I think it was especially that time for Mount Kenya. So it was part of the information that was coming from
Yeah,
that
actually
community.
it was.
Yes,
That's
it
where
was.
you first said
Yes,
it.
yes. It must have been part of the information that came through then. Because, after you do those meditations, it's yeah, you have fun doing the astral traveling, the raising your vibration, you feel it, let's go play. Then you have to come back and integrate everything that you've been getting there, and you're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So profound. I feel like it's time for African spirituality to rise. I'm feeling, and I keep being told this, and I keep feeling it. When you're looking at we are Africa is very strategic, but I feel like there is, if I could describe it, it's like an energy that's coming from the ground,
Yeah.
rising. I have that weird feeling.
Yeah.
You're feeling the connectedness, because I told you that Africa is the only continent rooted to the earth itself, like to the core of the earth. The rest are, now we're just about
We are
to go again.
Yeah, it's like where the continental plates are moving once again, and so there'll be more disconnection or more connection, who knows?
Yeah.
Because I think also it's about the, because I never like to lose sight of what this whole thing is about. This whole thing is about bringing human consciousness back to God realization. That's what this whole point is. That's what the journey is all about. And so, what does it take for us to get there? If I am to follow my guru's teachings and my guru's words, is to be as yourself as possible.
Absolutely.
To free yourself from anything that's holding you back from being yourself. Because when you are in yourself, the power moves through you, it animates you, and the world becomes a certain place, the culture looks a certain way, the relationships looks a certain way, our bodies look a certain way as a result of this force that we have allowed to move through us, as us, you see? And so that's why I keep saying it's not about the information, it's not about what you've read, what you know. All this is supposed to support you. Give yourself permission to be yourself. The minute you start hearing information like what we are sharing, and now you focus on researching and Googling just for the sake of knowing, that's not the point. It's to show you that, in fact, there's a message I got at the beginning of this year in my meditation, and it was, allow yourself to see the weird and the mysterious. Because our mind sometimes filters that out. Those experiences that are not within the framework of our minds, we don't see them, we don't receive them, we don't acknowledge them. And so we are not able to burst beyond the confines of our own mind, because you have told yourself, this is not normal, I will not see it, I will not,
Yeah.
But I heard in January, allow yourself to see the weird, the mysterious, the abnormal, allow yourself to see. Because when you do that, you're giving yourself permission to just be who you are. Because guess what? There's no you on this planet. There's no other combination and alchemization of energy like the one you're holding. And that's what is needed in the world. Which means if you show up as yourself, you're definitely going to have an experience that no one else has had. So do you have space for that? Or are you going to invalidate your experiences because they've never been seen? Yeah.
And I'm sure, here's another thing even for seekers. When you start, especially this meditation work and this spiritual journey, when you actually walk the walk, not just talk the talk, the universe is going to throw for you synchronicities until you can't.
Yeah.
It just loves to throw them like.
And it's such fun, like our stories today with our loops.
Yeah. Like I even removed
Yeah.
I had my loops. Yeah, do you wanting also to
I
get the
wanted
loops?
to wear loops. I wish I had them because that would have been epic.
Because I never wear
Epic
them.
synchronicity.
I just opened my jewelry box and I was like, these ones are too big. I don't even know why I was looking for. I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, interesting. And then I get into, I'm going to pick her. Then she comes with her big
She
hoops.
had loops.
Yes.
And then I was thinking of loops. I was like, I wish I had loops and then I would wear them.
Yes, so
Imagine
things
that.
like confirmations like those.
Confirmations.
Angel
eh,
numbers.
angel
Exactly.
I was telling someone about angel numbers. Kumbe, it's not everyone who sees these things.
No, it's
I
not.
take a lot of these
And even
synchronicities
for you,
granted.
sometimes if it's not your day, you'll just be trying to look for them and you
They're
never
not-
see them.
That's true.
Unapata
Yeah.
11, 11 unapata 8. Kwanza imepita tu sahihi.
11,
My-
12.
Guys, let me tell you a story. I started telling everyone about angel numbers, including my parents. So I told my mom about it. Now it was so funny because she used to tell me sometimes anaangalia anapata ni
Anangojea.
11, 10.
Alafu anasahau.
Na mtu
Unagojeanga unasahau. Then ukikumbuka
She calls
11,
me,
12.
Mother nilikuwa nangoja 22 22 usiku she calls. Nilikuwa nangoja nikadoze off nikamka ni 22 24.
They play
It
it
was
like
so
they
funny.
play with you.
They play.
And
I'm so
sometimes it's
happy.
just confirmed. Like yesterday, I went for a walk in Karura, and I'm just thinking about how we are. And then a friend joined me. So we are walking and we are talking about how we are so protective of ourselves. Like we are so protective. That's why we don't connect because we are always thinking, like I have to protect myself because it's so unsafe. I don't even
Protect
know
my
like
space.
realistically what we are protecting ourselves from because it's not a physical threat, it's a psychological threat. And I don't know why people threaten us psychologically. Like we feel we need to be accepted by everyone or be loved somehow, So we are having that conversation, and I look, we are walking, and I look, Karura is full of bushes, full of whatever, but somehow I look and I saw a plant that I've never seen before. It has very smooth leaves, but thorns on the leaves. Thorns are emerging from the leaves.
Wow.
That is interesting.
And I was like, look at that. At exactly the moment we were like, what are we protecting ourselves from? And I saw that plant and I was like,
That is
Interesting.
interesting.
I love that. I love when the
Interesting.
universe is talking to us. I guess that's the best
Yeah.
part of my day when like today in the morning as I was driving, I just said I think I want to travel or something. Then a 444 passed. I'm like, thank you. I just say thank you. My friend is like, what are you who are you talking to? What are you saying?
Yeah.
That kind of communication with
Yes.
plants, with talking to plants. Someone was telling me yesterday, one of the podcast sessions, episodes. I'm
Yeah.
not a life coach on podcast sets. I say sessions instead of episodes. He was telling me that if you are imbalanced energetically and then you fall sick, if you go to a plant and you can exchange energies with the plant and the plant will take your pain or your imbalance and then it gives you back health.
Yeah.
And I know that's true because at the time I had a foot problem and then I went to a tree at home and I just laid my leg on the tree and it was so painful. I think I had done something, sprained or whatever. And the pain went away. And I know I knew that the tree took away my pain. So it's actually a real thing.
Yeah,
Something I've
it is.
experienced.
Yeah, I think we have this limiting idea that we are the only conscious beings on the
Yes.
planet.
Same way people don't believe in aliens and it's such
Yeah.
a whole agenda. I'm like, what is this agenda?
like-
For surely just Google on YouTube.
It actually takes more to believe otherwise.
Yes.
Like for you to
Much
believe that,
effort.
yeah, it takes more effort to believe that we are the only conscious beings in
yes.
the universe.
Because why would you want us to be the only thing?
Plus, look at the diversity of life on this planet alone. And tell me that there's no other diversity elsewhere. Like, how are you thinking to even think like that? Anyway, we are very conscious. Plants are conscious.
Yeah.
Stones are conscious.
Animals
Like
are
every
conscious.
every kingdom has a certain level of consciousness, and that consciousness has a way it interacts with other kingdoms, and it's just about being present. And I think this conversation about meditation, about breathing work, about presence is actually what brings us to that as a lived reality. Because when you still yourself, when your mind is still, you slowly begin to see things as they are. You begin to see how plants are interacting with you. Because sometimes we think, it's a coincidence. It's like I have a plant at home. One day it just started dying. It died and died and died and died until it was one leaf left. And I was panicking. I'm like, for God's sake, tell me what you want. are my only plant and you're about to die. You're about to
plant,
give
mom?
me a bad name. You know, like if I can't
I can't
if I
even.
can't take care of a plant in a small pot, how have I survived with my 3 children? Like seriously. So I was moving it around. I'm like, I was no, I'm like, hapana, hapa utakufa tu. There's no enough light. I don't know about the plant.
Maybe it's the sauce.
Yeah, I changed the sauce. I remember. I even changed. Maybe it's the sauce. Maybe. And then I gave up. I was like, you know what?
Please don't die.
If I was begging, I was like, I hope you don't die, but I don't know whether you're gonna die or not. But I'm gonna keep doing my part. So I would water it and then see, guy, it has died some more. I watered it, it has died some more. But I'm not giving up. I decided let me give you a nice place to die. On my kitchen window. There's sunrise from this side, sunset from this side. You can die as you see the world. Right now, the plant is thriving. You saw it. It's like
blooming.
I'll come and
it's
when you
full in the
surrender
pot.
it also.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
But it's also like that, having that awareness, that consciousness to nurture life. You
Imagine.
know, it's not just about nurturing your babies or nurturing
Yourself.
your pets or yourself. It's nurturing life in whatever shape and format.
yeah.
It shows us, because even whatever you're creating, even if it's an inanimate project or an inanimate object, it is life because it is embedded with your ideas, with your creativity.
It also
And
takes your shit.
exactly. So it's like nurturing life itself. And so I think that's one of the ways I can say that my path has really transformed me. Like just being Hindu
Okay,
has really transformed because I see life in everything.
Yeah.
I see when I see a dead butterfly or a dead caterpillar, there's a way I interact with that than just being like, you know, there's a way I honor that. I'm like yesterday I saw a beautiful butterfly, but it was dead. And for a second, I thought about its life. Like, wow, you know, I gave it some thought. You know, before it's like nothing. It's like, you know. So I think that is something that the spiritual path, whatever your path is,
Yeah.
whatever you find your path, that is the one way to know whether it's a real path or it's just hot air. If it's actually transforming you and it's making you be a different person, a better person, more connected with yourself, with those around you, with nature, then that's definitely
Absolutely.
your path. Yeah.
What I wanted to add on to that also is the fact that we have technology these days that is already proving that. The other day someone was saying they were testing the electromagnetic field of a plant, of a house plant. And the owner, the one who planted it and he took care of it and everything, had left. So it was more stable. It wasn't like acting up or anything. It was just cool. It was the field was, let's say, like a habit, you know,
Like steady.
yeah, it's steady. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. It was steady. And then immediately the owner started returning. This is a small plant in the house. The owner is 2 kilometers away. The electromagnetic field started going crazy. Like it knew, yeah, it knew. Oh my past
God,
Yeah.
plants love me like
so, so we live in we are so grateful to be living in this age where we can actually test out this concept, make make the
Yeah.
spiritual physical. We see it, we feel it. Even the way they're putting those nodes. I see them in cars for jump starting. They're putting them on the trees. There was one they were putting in the mugumo tree, and the mugumo tree was singing, and immediately you felt the energy shift, like whoa.
Wow.
Whoa, you could hear it singing. And
Wow.
so even for the people, go out there, check out this information. It's already being proved in the physical,
Yeah.
not just
It's not just
yes,
woo-woo stuff.
yeah, it's no longer just woo-woo stuff in our
Yeah.
heads.
I was
Yeah.
telling I had two things about the plant that I ring bells for and incense.
Oh yeah, and then there's you.
My Tulsi, the Divine Mother incarnate. I think I've raised Tulsi like, I don't know, 5 times before this successful one. What I observed, every time I would plant the Tulsi, they would die. Now I used to place them a certain place near my neighbor. My neighbor used to play really loud music, like the the
Rapture?
guy of the crystals in the water. I
Oh.
think it's the same thing. The
Oh,
Japanese.
SRM.
Yes.
Mm.
So I used to play very loud music, very annoying music. And I noticed it's just something I observed. And then the plants would always die, always die, just some for some reason. Then eventually he moved, thank God. And then then eventually, and then I'm not saying that's the only reason. There sometimes forgot to water, whatever, but there was something about that sound. Every time I put the plants there, because I thought there was sun, they would just die. So anyway, eventually, I now planted one last time. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm an unsuccessful mother. This and the next life, it's okay. Plant anymore. Otherwise, let me just give it a last shot. So I got this other plant that I was given and decided to try it again. And then amemea, alafu now I was told you can't plant tulsi in a plastic. You need to use a clay pot for auspiciousness and everything.
Yeah.
So I transplanted. And then when I transplanted, so what I did, I started worshiping the plant. Also because not because I don't want them to die, because I learned that you can worship a tulsi, the divine mother. So when I transplanted, she started dying. And I remember just begging her, I'm like, Aki, please don't die. Like, please don't die, Yani. Not even
Yeah.
because of my identity or whatever. I've just come to love you. That's another thing about worshiping. You serve something so much that you actually start getting attached to them, like, I guess your baby or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you start
So-
having a personal relationships.
Like,
Yeah.
please don't die. So I just used to go and just send my love. Then at some point, it's like she responded. It's a she because it's the incarnation of the divine mother. I call her a she. At some point, she started becoming really yellow. And another interesting thing that I observed is every time she was blooming when in the plastic can, my life was blooming, like everything, monetarily, health wise, nini, when she's blooming. Then this time when she started becoming yellow, my life started going down. I'm like, wait, kumekauka. It was seriously, it's a pattern I observed. So yes, I remember telling my sister, I promise you, I'm not telling her to not die because I want my life to become better again. This one is genuinely, I actually love you enough. Please don't die. Then eventually she started kuamka, like she just started blooming again and becoming green, responding and becoming green again. And it's true, my life started changing again. But I was so happy, and now we just have a relationship, and that's why I just honestly just love her. So I was able to see the transition of love and care and concern and the response between me and her. And it's weird because like today morning, after I worship her, I usually like make a prayer. And today I was like, Aki, you help me with what? Then something stopped me, like, wait, why do I always just come tell you to help me with something? I won't do that again. Something stopped me. And then I instead changed the prayer to like gratitude and everything.
Yes.
And it's like I sound crazy saying this, but it felt like a conversation. It's like she's the one who was like, okay, kwa nini unashinda ukisema hivi, si useme kitu ingine? So when I said the gratitude, she was like, exactly. Like, okay, cool, thank you. And then I went, this is like a whole relationship.
Yeah.
A real loving relationship. And also I've remembered when I first started worshiping her, the very first time I did it, when I transplanted her, when I was doing the incense and everything, I closed my eyes, I actually saw the divine mother. It's so clear. She was in green and gold. And she was, so I had closed my eyes. And then when I opened, where I had seen her, see, this is a bucket. So she was here. When I opened my eyes, I noticed that the leaf was there. You know, it could have been here or here or here or somewhere.
Yeah.
It was right where
Right
the leaf was.
Imagine
Like
that.
this, I'm not making this shit up. And I've never lost that image. So I know it's the divine mother. It's so sweet, you
It
guys.
is.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that somebody listening to this would wonder, okay, so how is that relevant to life? It's about experiencing love in a very unconditional way. Because most of the times we only think love is in connection to other people. Sometimes we don't even think of love in connection to us. Like this feeling we feel as love, we don't feel it in response to ourselves or in response to other things other than maybe a pet, maybe someone, a child, your parent, your lover, your family, your friend. So we have really a box. We have boxed ourselves into how we can experience love. And we've boxed, and this expanding beyond our species, expanding beyond what we know, expanding beyond allows us to connect with love because God is love. It's to connect with God through everything, even this table, even your favorite pen, even you can do that because the experience of love is what opens your heart and actually makes you a better person. Because when your heart is open, imagine what you can do, how creative you can be, how connecting you can be, how collaborative you can be.
And
you know?
therefore you succeed in life.
In life in general.
Life, the success,
Yeah.
material success
Exactly.
actually works out.
Yeah.
Because I keep saying this. I keep feeling like people think spiritual and conventional are separate.
They are separate. No, they are not.
They are the same.
Yeah.
Two faces
That's why
of
we
the same
think we are
coin.
thriving
Yeah.
now. And we look like we are thriving. I tell you. But we are at peace and everything.
Yeah.
I'm torn between whether to ask you guys about. No, let me just ask. What is your relationship with Christianity now?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a word, in a sentence. What's your relationship with Christianity?
Christian-
Because
I
there's
think-
also that dichotomy
Yeah,
of
I think
you're either
Christianity
Christian
for
or-
me, it gained so much more meaning and understanding after venturing
Yes.
outside and learning.
After you left it.
After I left it. After I went like, nope. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's right now it makes so much sense. I told you on the previous podcast that for me, even the Bible itself has become like a treasure map. It's like just seeking for gold or something, some treasure, some diamonds. They're thrown all about. But if you don't know how to read it, that becomes a problem. There's a story even of Jesus and Nicodemus. The road to somewhere, where someone stopped him and told him, "Teach me how to read the Bible." You have to be taught to read the Bible. You just can't go in there, open the book and go like, and then you shall go to hell and nini and all fear-based reactions when you're being told God is love. You gotta follow the love. Because this is information coming from people who had their own experiences then, and it's some of those experiences are not valid now. If it's valid now, then we're not evolving as a people. Understand? So if we start to understanding, and love will always evolve. When you follow love, it's going to evolve you.
Yeah.
Follow the love in the Bible. I love my relationship with Christians. I love my relationship with the Bible right now. I can open it nicely and just be like, yes, this makes sense. Let's play with this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
My relationship also with other religions, same thing. You understand? I don't have any yay or nays. I don't think one is better than the other. I just think all of them are just different paths leading to the same
To
thing.
the same thing.
To the same
Yeah.
thing. That is my stand on it.
I think in Hinduism, there's somebody who has said that the truth is one, but the wise speak of it in many ways.
Yeah. Oh, I love
And
that.
yeah, so it's essentially that. And what happened for me after I was really settled on my path is I began to see the value of the Christian path. I began to see how of a great foundation it was for me in my life. And I began to get a deeper meaning. It's like the essence of the religion started to come alive in me. So it's not about the dogma, it's about the essence of which is love. And I have been to churches after I became Hindu, by the way, and I have spoken in churches. I have, been speaking in churches. Even last year, I was speaking in churches. And I remember sitting through a service and just crying. Like there's no church service that I go and not cry because there's so many profound things that just hit my heart in a certain way. It's the song sometimes, it's the prayer sometimes, it's the reading sometimes. And I'm looking at the crowd and I'm like, they're so numbed out, they have no idea how profound what is happening is. And I'm like, they'll be probably the first ones to throw stones at you and say you're not Christians. But in their service, they're so used to it. And I saw myself in that. Like, this is something I do routinely. I go to church, we say the prayer, we sing the song, blah, blah, blah. It's just, but since I became Hindu, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a treasure. Like this path, if you follow it, if this is your path, and by the way, if you're a seeker, it's not automatic that your path is different. It's not automatic that you'll go and become Buddhist or atheist or whatever,
Yes, very
whatever.
true.
People think that because you're seeking now you have to leave Christianity.
Yeah.
No, sometimes your path is that where you are born, but you're meant to go deeper in it with your own personal understanding and experiences. You move away from what you are told and what you are taught and find your own personal relationship. And I think that's what salvation really is about. It's about building your own personal relationship with the divine in your own personal way. So religion is usually a very good foundation, but beyond religion, is your path. And even whether you are born Muslim or Hindu, and you remain still in that religion, as your path will be very different. You've seen how different people practice Christianity differently. They're all Christians, but how it translates to their daily life is different. So don't always think that you have to reject the religion you are born in. Don't follow the bandwagon of like, oh, we are rejecting, we are rejecting, reject. It's not about that. It's about being authentic. And sometimes authenticity leads you to say, and yeah, I have these questions and I'm out because no one is answering my questions. But maybe sometime later, your questions will be answered in your own personal relationship, and you'll find your way back into the same place. And now you'll have a deeper understanding and a deeper way of practicing it. So I really value Christianity. It's a really huge basis for me. And I love that path. And, Hinduism filled the gaps for me that Christianity was not able to fill. But I'm not even in Hinduism because I chose it as a religion. I'm in Hinduism because it was the platform on which my guru has built the path. That's all. Because me, I found my guru. I didn't choose a religion. And that's a difference, because a lot of people think, why did you choose Hinduism? At least Islam is closer to Christianity. I wasn't shopping.
Facebook
It's like I'm Facebook Marketplace looking for a religion. No, it's my guru who found me, and my path led me there because I am in pursuit of my truth. I'm in pursuit of the truth, and it might be different from you and me, but guess what? Our destination is the same place at the feet of the Lord. That's where we are all headed. So, yeah.
Kabisa.
Mic drop. Same thing.
You gotta, that is actually the true indicator. There's somebody who said, I think it's one of the Hindu masters. He said the truest sign of enlightenment is you being human. Is to appreciate that human experience, and that is what it comes back to.
Yeah.
So we like to exchange the one devil for the other. You run away from the Christian linear and the whole concept of the devil, and then you start gaining another. But it's not supposed to be that. Even in that whole Christianity, you can find your humanity right there. It's love. And we love love.
Exactly.
Love.
Exactly.
And we're trying also to demonize love.
Yeah.
Make it bad. It's not emotions. Love is not about emotions.
Yeah.
It is emotions, but it is so much grander
It's bigger than that.
Yeah, and it encompasses everything. So when you, as a seeker, try to appreciate even your path. What led you to here?
Yeah.
And what is guiding you forward?
Don't exclude stuff. Include stuff.
Yes.
Like you including. That's what love does. Because if God is everything, if everything emerges from God, then it means everything leads us back to God.
Exactly.
And so seeing it from that perspective is actually what changes you. What changes you is not the arguments, it's not the knowledge you get, it's the filter that you change. You change this lens. You change the lens to see everything as love. And when you begin to see everything as love, then all parts are okay.
Valid.
And so you don't choose it based on rightness or wrongness. You choose it based on resonance and alignment.
And they
basically.
even become, all these other parts become exciting. It's like going on a trip and visiting other cultures and tasting different foods. And you don't want to change anybody. You don't want to say, hey, stop being this, come and be this. You're like, no, you be you completely. I want you to be you.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most amazing feelings, and that feeling always has to come back first from you. You have to first find yourself, find that authenticity, and you accept yourself, accept your path where you are. That's the only way you can give it to another. That is the only way we can heal the other. That is the only way we can stop all these wars about religion, about who's better than who, CG first world country, third world country. None of that. We're all just diverse. And that diversity, when we can accept it, especially now that we're talking about African spirituality, if you can just accept yourselves as Africans, we can accept ourselves as Africans and realize we had a spirituality, a path before Christianity.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to us, we won't demonize it the way we're talking about. All of a sudden, if someone is practicing African spirituality, witches.
You remember like that day at that event, we were burning incense and there were guys in the kitchen next door praying against us.
Wacheni.
Yeah.
At home.
No, we didn't say
It was at Bible
I
something
can't remember that place, but that was so
in
funny.
Kilimani, somewhere on Muringa Road. It's like a sister's place.
Imagine.
They saw us burning. So we were working with the 5 elements. And so there was some incense burning. So they went to the kitchen, they were praying,
And nearly crying.
binding us.
So that's the thing. No, you don't see such things. Instead, you observe from a curious mind. There's a difference between observing and judging. But used to tell me, I'm not judging you, I am observing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, it feels like you're being judged.
Mm.
And then you come to understand, I'm actually just observing this, and if it works for me, no. If it doesn't work for me,
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah.
You'd still do you. And that's the idea we need to start having, especially, or build up with African spirituality. We stop demonizing our own ancestors. You understand? Our ancestors were not demons.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. We had so much power. And now we need to return it back to
And
us.
love, yeah.
And love, yeah.
And I think it's that capturing the essence of life itself. I love what my guru does because he has a whole array of saints. Islamic saints, Christian saints, Hindu saints, Sikh saints that he tells us stories about because he's like, that is what they knew something from whatever standpoint they had in their life. They knew something. And the essence of that truth is what, if you look, is a silver thread running across everyone who has been said to be God realized, no matter which corner of the world they came from. And he's trying to tell us it's not about these things that are dogmatic and ritualistic, and no, it's about this essence that they have managed to embody and express that is in all of us. Yeah, it's love.
When you said this, whoever you guys, the incense story, I remember that time I had my tilak and I went to buy nyanyas at Wangige. And then the man I was buying from started praying. Like, touching his nyanyas, like, our Father who art in heaven. Just like laughing, like, Lord. There's a long way to go.
But at least you brought him closer to the Lord that day.
True. Anyway, we have to end. We can talk forever. We talk a whole night, all night long. And then I was also gonna say that I'm looking at you guys and I'm thinking, well, I'm so proud to have you guys and as my friends. Please, internet, these are my friends. This is the kind of people I hang around with. I'm so lucky.
And we're so
Anyway.
blessed to have you.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, definitely.
At least I can be
Definitely.
weird around someone in this life.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you so much for accepting, for everything. Thank you for coming and taking the time. And I hope that we can do this. The intention I've set out there is for us to actually do this more and more and more and more and more.
Yay.
Yes. So until then, thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, kwaheri.